Well, we are continuing to take you back to the beach this week ahead of Memorial Day weekend. Fox 46 meteorologist Elisa Raffa live in Wrightsville Beach, where rip current rescues have already taken place. And Elisa, it looks so beautiful out there today. We're going to get to you. There you are. It looks gorgeous, and I guess that's part of this whole thing, right? Is that it can look just like a normal day at the beach, and rip currents can still be a real danger for folks.
Exactly, Paige. It does not need to be stormy for there to be a rip current risk. Actually, the rip current risk is moderate today and tomorrow, with some waves kicking up 1 to 2 feet. NOAA, the National Weather Service, actually developed a model where they can forecast these rip currents up to 6 days out. So we've really come a long way in being able to tell with these rip current days. And you can see we've got blue skies, sunshine, a little bit of a breeze. It is gorgeous out here, but we do still have that moderate rip current risk. A couple of people needed to be rescued a little bit farther down the beach here, and we actually have already had one person die so far this year in North Carolina from rip currents. So it's a real risk, and as I'll teach you through the next couple of days, rip currents is what you need to be more aware of at the beach, not sharks. Shark encounters are so rare, and don't worry, I'll explain how, why, and all that with shark experts coming to you later this week, Paige.
We are looking forward to that. I know you and I had a good discussion about that earlier. It's like the opposite of what you would think logically, right, in terms of what people are more scared of. And then, of course, we're also in the beginning of hurricane season here, which I know you're covering also, looking back on one of the biggest storms to hit our area.
Yeah, we're coming up on 3 years of Florence. September makes that 3-year anniversary, and this hurricane season going to be an active one. So it's just a reminder of the devastation that these hurricanes can do. And coming up at 5 and 6, and especially tonight at 10, I got to speak to some Florence survivors who are still not home. 3 years later, there's still about 500 families displaced just in one county in North Carolina alone. So still a long road to go as people still recover. And, you know, sometimes we just don't realize that this pain can still last a couple of years after the fact. So I'm going to break a lot of that down coming up at 5, 6, and then we've got a full kind of emotional and powerful report coming up for you tonight at 10, Paige.
Looking forward to that. Elisa Raffa, thank you so much. We're going to bring...
I'm meteorologist Elisa Raffa live at Wrightsville Beach. It's a gorgeous bright blue day here. We've got the beautiful seas behind us. We're going to talk about climate change impacts on our coast coming up next. I'm meteorologist Elisa Raffa live at Wrightsville Beach. We're taking you back to the beach as we kick off the unofficial start to summer. We're talking about the beach hazards and climate change on our coast coming up next.
Summer is right around the corner, and we're continuing to take you back to the beach this week, covering stories of our coast where we always keep a close eye on any hurricanes that could barrel in.
September marks 3 years since Hurricane Florence devastated the Carolinas, and many are still not back home. Fox 46 meteorologist Elisa Raffa has spent the last few weeks traveling along the North Carolina coast to our beautiful beaches, and tonight she is live in Wrightsville Beach looking at the impact Hurricane Florence is still having on the area 3 years after it hit. Elisa?
Yeah, Brian, Lindsay, it's a gorgeous day at the beach here. We've got sun shining, a breezy wind here. But as you mentioned, September, we're coming on 3 years of Florence. And I had the privilege of meeting with some Florence storm survivors in my trips along the coast this month. And we'll bring you that story tonight. Let's take a look back at some of that video from Florence. If you don't remember, it hit in September of 2018. And it sat for 3 days, dropping about 30 inches of rain in 3 days with 13 feet of storm surge, causing $16 billion worth of damage across the state. 5,000 people needed to be rescued. Over 70,000 structures were flooded. Again, I spoke to one of the survivors. This is Terry Lewis Lawrence. She spoke to us about something that she lost after Florence hit.
I truly believe it shortened his life. I mean, he was 94 when he passed away, but prior to that, I believed he could have gone another 5, 10 years, you know, and he just went downhill. He had never been a depressed kind of person, but it really hit him.
Terry was talking to us about her dad, that she lived in a home with him, and it got 6 to 8 inches of water. The house needed to be gutted, and now her home has been lifted by about 10 feet to try to prevent that flooding from happening again. And as I learned at our time on the coast is that 3 years later, Florence is still a big deal. There are still vulnerable communities that are hurting really hard from Florence, living on some flood-prone land that is very cheap to buy but expensive to insure. Flood insurance is just skyrocketing thanks to climate change. So we're going to take a deep dive into this tonight. We're going to take a look back at Florence, a look at how people are still dealing with those impacts right now, and a look at how we can try to create a climate-resilient coast going into the future. For now, reporting live at Wrightsville Beach, meteorologist Elisa Raffa, FOX 46.